Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well and welcome to this video. Today we're going to be talking about how your destiny is predetermined, how your soul has created a blueprint before incarnating, and also how your intuition, your inner compass, is the map which you use to navigate that blueprint, or, sometimes in the case of not listening to your intuition to get further away from that blueprint. So, let me begin by talking a little bit about our society and how disconnected we are from our spirit. A lot of us think and feel like our lives are just up in the air in terms of what can happen. We feel very disconnected from our intuition and our spirit, and we feel like the things that happen in our life happen to us at random. I was raised atheist, so I totally understand this perspective, but I also want to say that this is a perspective and really a mindset that will disconnect you from all the magic and the amazing energy that can enter your life. Because when you're in this mindset of seeing the world as this empty, barren place full of violence and egotistical people, you really cut yourself off from the people who can really love you and support you. You cut yourself off from your intuition, from your inner compass. And when you cut yourself off from your intuition, you cut yourself off from your map, which is given to you, or rather you as a soul give it to yourself in order to help yourself be guided through your life experience. So life doesn't just happen by accident. We all have a soul. More importantly, we all have a spirit. Anyone who knows anything about mediums, especially the credible mediums, evidential mediums, know that there is another side. There is the spirit world where we go when we die, where our deceased loved ones go when they die. But what most people don't understand is when people die, they're actually just returning to that spiritual realm, because we all come from there, technically. We have all had many lives on Earth, usually. There's some people who, this is their first life. But most people have actually hundreds, dozens, maybe even thousands of lifetimes on Earth. And we don't necessarily have access to those memories and those experiences consciously unless we have very strong psychic abilities and we're very in touch with our intuition. Intuition and psychic ability is really synonymous with each other. I want to talk about the soul's blueprint because as a soul, before coming into our life, we actually set certain ideals, goals for ourselves. We almost make out a map of our life. Our soul projects forth an energy which carries a certain momentum, and that energy shapes who we are and how we feel in this life. For example, the easiest way to get in touch with that energy for yourself is to really think about when you were a child. What do you pour your creative energy into? What were you naturally drawn to? For 99% of people, if they look into their childhood, they're going to be able to immediately access some information in their soul's blueprint. There are a small percentage of people who this may not happen for, and this will happen for children who have dealt with really serious abuse where they were absolutely not allowed to express any childlike energy when they were in their childhood. But for most people, if you look into your childhood, you will be able to uncover that energy. And the key is it's an energy that's within you. As we get older, we go through societal conditioning, we sustain trauma, we are in unhealthy relationships, we lose touch with our intuition and our spirit and our inner child. But when I say inner child, the inner child really is just the essence of your soul expressed. It's an energy of pure love and playfulness, because the soul and the spirit is very playful. The seriousness and fear is something that we actually pick up when we incarnate into a physical human body and our consciousness adjusts to the density of the planet. and we lose touch with the finer, higher vibrational frequencies of energy. So for those people who go through a spiritual awakening, what's actually happening is you are beginning to shed and step out of the so-called matrix, the energy matrix, which disconnects us from the other side, from our spirit, from our higher power. And on a spiritual awakening journey, it's your purpose to regain that. So let's talk about your soul's blueprint, because this is specific to every single person. Your soul's blueprint is essentially you on a soul level deciding what you want from your life before being born. So this is different for everyone. So there's no one way to tell what your soul blueprint is. It's something that you have to use your intuition for, and you have to do healing work in order to access. Your soul's blueprint is your soul's ideal path for this life if you were to overcome your fear, to be self-loving and to be compassionate to yourself, and to overcome any limitations that are either self-imposed or put onto you by other people. I also want to mention, when you have self-imposed limitations, it's usually because someone else has first imposed those limitations on you. So don't feel bad or beat yourself up if you have a pattern of sabotaging yourself or imposing limits on yourself, because that's most likely a pattern that you've learned through someone else. Now I want to talk about how you can actually figure out what your soul blueprint is so that you can take the steps to align with it. I want to talk about something called a negative imprint. A negative imprint is another word for trauma, emotional trauma. Your core emotional trauma is going to be the exact opposite of what you're meant for in your soul's blueprint. I'm also going to add in the word soul purpose, because your soul purpose is almost like the driving mission behind your life. Your soul's blueprint is like the path to express that and the path in which you follow to express that. So as you're listening to this video, I would ask you to think about, what is the core pain in your life? For some people, it is loneliness. And for those people, their core negative imprint is loneliness. And they're meant to heal that energy through self-compassion and taking the action steps to have community. For other people, and you can have many, I'm just going to give out a bunch of common examples. For some people, they have a worthiness wound where they will constantly limit themselves because they don't think that they're good enough to do something. They're afraid of failing and being made fun of, and so they never give themselves the opportunity. Well, for that type of person, the opposite of that energy would be to become the type of person who believes in themselves unconditionally, who constantly gives them chances. And so if you kind of follow along with this exercise, it might bring up a lot of fear, because we tend to want to stick to survival patterns around our core negative imprint. But I would actually challenge you to really take a look at this and allow yourself to really sit with it, because you'll begin to see how everything that you're meant for in this life in some way is the opposite of a traumatic experience that you've had. Some more examples of this are, for example, someone may have a blueprint, a soul's blueprint of being a singer in their lifetime. They might have a formative experience as a child where they were attempted to be silenced by other people. Other people might have really spoken over them, really trampled over their voice. They might have even been told by other people that they were a terrible singer or they would never succeed. In this person's blueprint, the way that they can align with their highest purpose would be to overcome that and give themselves compassion for that experience and to do it anyways. Something that I've noticed about the human soul in working with other people, doing readings for them from their Akashic record and looking at their soul's blueprint, is that the soul in itself is usually of a pretty rebellious nature. It likes to take on challenges in lifetimes because it helps define individuality. In the higher realms, we're a lot more merged than we are in the physical realm. A huge lesson of the physical realm is to express our individuality and to not allow other people to suppress us or to drag us down. Because the more that we express our true selves, the more that other people detangle and start expressing their own true nature. And it's almost this ripple effect, this like domino effect that happens. And so I just want to say that that kind of rebellious energy would most likely be found in your inner child if it could express itself. So I would challenge you to really lean into that and really think about how overcoming adversity is one of the greatest lessons, but it is the most self-loving thing you can do to fully and totally back yourself up, to believe in yourself no matter what, and to continually give yourself chances, even if you are met with failure or pushback from other people or other people, saying that you can't do something. I want to give another example that I love. Lady Gaga, before she was famous, there was, and if I recall correctly, there was a group from her school of students who made a Facebook group telling her that she would never be famous. That is an example of a core negative imprint. And you can see how much Lady Gaga has accomplished in her life, how expressive she is, how creative she is, how brave she is. This is the same potential for everyone. I'm not saying everyone's going to be an amazing international pop star, but she's happy. She's living her purpose. She's aligned with her blueprint. She's doing the work that she wants to be doing and she's being herself. And it would have been easy for her in that position to give up and give into the shame and the humility, but she chose to push through that and believe in herself. So that's an example. So I want everyone listening, and if you're thinking about a specific scenario where other people really told you that you couldn't do something, I want you to begin believing the opposite, or begin at least entertaining the idea of the opposite. When it comes to the negative imprint, you really have to look at opposites. Looking at the opposite energy is the key. I'm going to give one last example before I conclude this video, and I'm going to give a personal example from my own life. I'm actively and consciously following my soul's blueprint, and I had an incident happen where I was lied to very badly, despite my intuition telling me the exact opposite thing. And I could not shake the feeling that I was being lied to, that there was something more that was going on. This was a core negative imprint for me. I was not being told the truth, I was being lied to, and my intuition was telling me something opposite. So for me in this situation, my lesson there, the way that I healed that was to listen to my intuition, about what it was telling me about that situation, and to listen to that inner voice over what I was being told and what other people were trying to convince me of. Doing that, listening to my inner voice in that situation, led me along a path for 3 years where I worked as a psychic reader, doing readings for other people. And when I was working in that profession, and I kind of still am, but I'm shifting more to doing content creation, as I'm shifting naturally as my soul blueprint is going in a different direction. But when I was doing that, I would also encounter a lot of people, a lot of my clients who had a similar core negative imprint. I attracted a lot of sensitive people who were very intuitive, and they would have situations in their lives where they're being lied to by someone. And that is an example of a core negative imprint showing you the direction that you're meant to be going. Because it's almost like something will happen to give your soul the opportunity to say, hey, wait, that's actually not my truth. That's actually not who I am. I am this instead. So following your soul's blueprint is really not going to be about following someone else, but it's going to be about listening to your own inner voice and following it, listening to the voice of your spirit and your soul, backing it up unconditionally, forgiving yourself consistently and unconditionally, and always being there for yourself, or at least trying your best to. That's really all you need to do. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to make the conscious effort to be compassionate towards yourself. And when you do that, your life will transform. Things will shift and fall away, but it's most likely that your life is going to transform and perhaps go through a period of chaos, even destruction, where things have to be torn down so that new space is made, and eventually you're going to begin shaping and manifesting in a more aligned version of your life, where the energy that you are embodying is closer to what your soul desired when you came into this life. And the more you do that, and the more you accept yourself, and the more you have compassion for yourself, you will become more aligned to your soul's blueprint the more you do that. And when you are aligned with your soul's blueprint, you truly will feel happy and fulfilled. And that is the only reason that we would even be talking about that, because it's about making our personal subjective experience in this life as something very positive and loving and uplifting, something that is good for our soul's evolution, that is healing to ourselves and the people around us, and will better the planet as time goes on. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was a pleasure to make, and I'm so excited for everyone who's going to be aligning with their blueprint. Let me know in the comments if you were able to figure out what your core negative imprint is, or even if you have an idea of it. It's so nice to share in a community, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.